Hey guys, Ian back again from Batman Batgirl, doing another review, and today I'll be doing yet again a review with my dad, John, and my little sister, Hannah,
What's up?
of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode 8, I believe it was, and I can't remember what the name of the episode was for the life of me, but the
Let's
new
just
episode.
call it the Thor episode.
Yeah,
How about that?
Thor episode. I mean,
or I guess we should say the Asgard episode,
Yeah.
since Thor technically wasn't in.
Yeah, although, I mean, it'll be in the title above or below, however you're watching this. Speaking of which, yet again, like last week's video, this will be a podcast-esque thing in the fact that it will be pitch black, you won't be able to see anything, boo-hoo. Just listen to it for entertainment, people.
That's alright, my voice is sexy enough.
Alright, so, what do we think about the episode? I thought it was good.
Well,
I literally think if he breaks another plane, Nick Fury is going to go up to him and kick his butt.
that's a good point. Now, talking about this episode, I really loved how they brought the history of Asgardian aliens and so forth being on Earth, laced all throughout the story.
Especially since Thor's one of their nice Marvel superheroes.
Well, and I have to tell you that the guy that played the Asgardian alien, which maybe gives too much away, he's a great actor. He was on a show called Numbers on CBS years and years ago, where he played kind of a goofy professor with a lot of neurotic tendencies. He's a terrific actor, and I really enjoyed seeing him in that part. And it was a part unlike most of the parts he plays, because he played the goofy part, but then he got real cold,
Yeah.
and confident, and that sent chills down your spine.
Yeah, I'd agree with that statement. I really liked the episode. One thing I liked about it, I don't know about TV shows, but I know comic books, tie-ins are the vein of existence, because, usually with tie-ins, it'll have, one or two, a handful of panels that pay, just a little bit of lip service to it, just enough to call it a tie-in, and then it completely goes back on its own thing, nothing to do with the story.
But here it was a total theme all throughout the episode.
Yeah, I mean, it was the perfect tie-in for the Thor movie, in my opinion, because, yes, it was about, Asgard, and it tied into the Thor movie in a way, and it was kind of like a direct sequel, but at the same time, it was also enough of its own story that someone who only watches the S.H.I.E.L.D. show and hadn't watched the Thor movie yet, like my dad over here, wouldn't have been like, oh, well, I'm missing something. What the heck's all this?
Well, I can tell you that even having not seen that, I am somewhat knowledgeable about world literature and ancient literature and so forth. And I thought they did an excellent job of tying in the Asgardian myths throughout, world literature into the episode as part of the Marvel mythology. So that was really interesting from my perspective. And I also want to point out that the only thing that I did not like about the episode, I noticed they didn't use Skye very much, which is okay. She's not as favorite a character.
Yeah.
I love Skye.
I know, and she's great, but Melinda May is even greater.
Oh, you just
Yeah, that ending, I was just kind of like,
Science
well,
girl,
what?
Dad.
No, that's Simmons. I'm in love with the Asian kick butt girl.
Yeah, at the very end of the episode,
You're
I
in
want to...
love with an Asian woman. Dad.
Well, not in love with her, but the character's one of my favorites. And this one prominently featured her. My big problem, though, my one kind of critique or criticism about this episode is how they handled the Ward flashbacks. I expected the flashbacks to give me some insight and some information,
Yeah.
but guess what? They gave me squat. I got some images, but I didn't really get a sense of what happened.
Yeah, and it's...
Even when he talked about it later in the episode where he kind of explained it, guess what? He explained squat.
Yeah.
So it didn't add anything to me other than knowing that Ward is a conflicted asshole, but I'm sorry. I already knew that.
Yeah, maybe me and my dad just both missed the same thing, but if someone on there could clarify, I think it's trying to say that he was either the kid at the top of the water or the kid in the water, but I can't
Right.
tell
I
which.
can't
So if
either.
somebody, because on one hand I'm like, oh, well, they're only showing views from the kid at the bottom of the water, it's obviously him. But then they showed a lot of point of view from the kid to the top that the kid at the bottom wouldn't have been able to tell. So I'm like, if somebody up in the YouTube comments below could help clarify that if you understand it as well, because I was just kind of like, what? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure it's very momentous or
I
whatever,
also did
but
not
I didn't
appreciate
really
the fact that
understand.
Coulson didn't dig more into his past when he had the opportunity. I'm not going to say anything more specifically about the opportunity because I don't want to spoil
There's
anything.
one thing I really
But,
didn't want to
okay,
say.
but, for the last 2 or 3 episodes now, he's been driven to try to break this secret of his past that he doesn't know.
I know.
Then all of a sudden, he's presented with the opportunity.
Yeah, he kind of seemed to throw that away. Like the other guy's
Right.
like, well,
And
you know, he's like, no, really, got a point.
It's not that big a deal. But then what do we see? The very next thing we see him have a nightmare flashback about
Haunting
the whole
him.
thing.
Yeah,
Right.
that's another thing this guy asks. I don't think this really spoils anything because it doesn't make any sense if you haven't seen what led up to it. He's like, well, is it haunting you? And he's like, not really.
Not really.
And I'm like,
But see,
really?
that's not
Because it's
true.
been haunting him for the past, 3... I mean, maybe
Exactly.
But then again, he might be just trying to hide his insecurities about it because the only person we've seen him share any of his feelings about any of this tour was Melinda May. He hasn't told anyone else about his insecurities on whether he's really
what does
dead.
he care about that Asgardian guy? What he thinks about, his insecurities?
I'm just trying to I'm just trying to make up excuses for him. I don't know
Those were
why.
just the only 2 things I didn't like. I did like the very last scene of the episode, though, before Coulson's
That threw me. I loved it, but it threw me for a loop at the same time.
It was
I'm
not
like,
what I anticipated, no.
No.
But I could definitely see the connection between those 2 characters. I'm not at all surprised that they ended up hooking up like that. I don't want to say anything more because I don't want to spoil it.
Well, I say I'm not surprised. I'm surprised and not surprised at the same time. I'm not surprised that those 2 characters because they seem to fit perfectly. But then again, I'm a little surprised just because it feels
They've
like
been working on a different chemistry.
Yeah, it feels like they've been working on a chemistry between one of the characters and a different character throughout the episode.
See, I would have figured that she would have hooked up with the old guy.
Yeah, they've actually been mixing up both. They've been mixing, trying to build up a chemistry between him and a different girl and her and a different guy.
I don't know why they're doing that though. That is typically turns audiences off, so I don't know how that's going to work. I think you're probably right. They're definitely tricking my mind.
Because they'll lure you into
Then again, I can easily see why either one of them would have just, been totally open to something.
Okay, my favorite moment of the episode, and then we're just about out of time. My absolute favorite moment of the episode is the Norway, I don't know, what do you call him, Norwegian park ranger who's this big guy, right? With a beard, and he's all hurly-burly, man, and all he can talk about...
This is a nature reserve!
I can't believe anybody would be so evil and do this, and you're thinking he's talking about slaughtering babies or something. He's talking about somebody cut down a tree.
He's like, this is a nature reserve. Who do they think they are?
I know, see, I loved that. Because, hey, the guy can be sensitive. I like that. Let's not go with the typecast. Let's change it up a little bit, and I appreciate it. So anyway, that's all I got for
Overall,
this one.
great episode. I'd rate it about a 8.5 out of 10, 9 out of 10.
Yep, it was good.
All right.
See you
This
next
is
week.
Ian from the Batman Batgirl, and until next time, have a great day.